Hello there. So today we're in Nottingham, famous for Sherwood Forest and Robin Hood and all that type of stuff. And we're almost at the place. This is called Wollaton Hall, and this was built in the late 1500s. And it's been described as an advanced Elizabethan with Jacobean elements. So we're here now. Quite a foggy morning. It's been a while since I made my last video because basically we've had an awful winter and it's just been freezing cold and wet all the time, so it's not really been the weather to show off some of these places. So just find a parking space. So I've just parked, and you might just be able to see the silhouette of the house on the top of the hill up there. It's quite a sight actually, especially in the fog and mist like this. Here's another look from a bit closer. We'll have a little walk up closer to the house now, through this avenue of trees. So, Wollaton Hall was built between 1580 and 1588 for Sir Francis Willoughby, and this is grade 1 listed. It's believed that it was designed by the architect Robert Smithson, who had by then already completed Longleat House in Wiltshire and would go on to design Hardwick Hall in Derbyshire. And the style of this house has been described as an advanced Elizabethan with early Jacobean elements, and it was once dubbed the architectural sensation of its age. In 1603, Queen Anne of Denmark and her children stayed here at Wollaton, and it's been recorded that the master masons and some of the statuary were brought from Italy. If we have a quick turn around, we can see the parkland rolling down the hill away from the house. In 1801, fire damaged the original interior of the house, and so it was remodelled by Geoffrey Wyatville, who was a prominent architect of the period and had also worked on Chatsworth House in Derbyshire that we've already looked at. Due to impending death duties within the family, the house was bought by Nottingham City Council in 1925 and opened as a museum in 1926 when some large stuffed animals were installed. From 1940, for almost 15 years, the northern area of the park was used for military purposes, first to accommodate US troops, then, from 1945 onwards, German prisoners of war. In 2001, Wollaton Hall starred as Wayne Manor in the Batman film The Dark Knight Rises. Christian Bale, Anne Hathaway, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine were all on set during the filming. Now we're at the rear of the house. And the room right at the top up there, that's called the prospect room. And that's just one room that takes up the whole of the top floor. And hopefully I'll be going in there a bit later on, if it opens up. The house is around 5 miles north of the village of Gotham, from which Gotham City apparently got its name. In medieval times, the villagers of Gotham apparently had a reputation for being fools, leading to one satirical magazine borrowing Gotham as a nickname for New York in the 19th century, which in turn was apparently picked up by DC Comics and therefore was used as Gotham City in Batman. As you can see, it's a stunning looking building. So you can see why it might have been used as Wayne Manor. To this day, Wollaton is still home to Nottingham's Natural History Museum. With a collection of around 750,000 objects, Wollaton is actually the largest dedicated natural history museum in the county. The house, museum collections and grounds are now enjoyed by visitors who don't even have to pay an entry fee, so it's a great value day out, possibly only having to pay a parking fee, if anything. Let's have a little look up here. And if we look in various places around the building, you can see that various busts adorn the exterior. And these include the likes of Plato, Caesar and Charles I. There's another one further up, and like I say, in various places around the building. You can see about 5 on the other side up there. I don't know which one's which. That looks a bit like Charles I up there. And if we walk up here, on the walls of the house, we've got these strange things. And these are actually carved stone mooring rings, which are reminiscent of the type of things you get in Venice. So I suppose that shows that the owner, when the house was built, had a bit of a thing for Italy. And so, like I say, hopefully the house will open up a bit later on, and I'll be able to have a little bit of a look around inside. So we'll see. But first, I suppose I'll go and have a look around some of the gardens and stuff. First things I'll quickly mention is we've got these statues at the rear of the house. And there's 2 on either side of the central path. As you can see, there's another 2 over this side. And apparently these are fiberglass replicas, and the originals that were here have been moved into the Camellia house just round the corner. Yeah, so if I give these a knock, you'll see. You can hear they're fiberglass. And these statues are said to represent the Roman gods Neptune, Flora, Venus and Cupid. And on the path at the back of the house, there's this what was a pond, and this is grade 2 listed, and it probably dates back to around 1588. And apparently it features in old 17th century paintings, so you can sort of prove how far it goes back. But now it's apparently covered for safety reasons. The water supply to the pond is actually still good, but water leaks from the base, and it formerly had a fountain in its centre that spurted water from its top. And I don't have a photo of the fountain, but I do have a photo from about 10 years ago, before they put the wooden boards across the top. So I'll quickly pop that up for you to have a look. And then just at the back of this area we've got this stone balustrade running across, and this is grade 2 listed as well. And this obviously forms sort of a terrace running across the top. And this balustrade originally dates from the 17th century, but bits of it have been damaged since then, so it's actually a mix of the original 17th century stonework and then some later replacements from the 19th and 20th century. You can tell some of them look a bit older than the others. And this is just the bit at the end in the corner. So let's go down to a lower level. Just to our right at the end of that walk there's the Camellia house, which I'll have a look at in a little while. Just down here we've got a little feature, and this should be the Doric temple. Yeah, so this is the grade 2 star listed Doric temple, and this has also been known as the French hovel. So the front of the temple has an open loggia with Doric columns, obviously where it got its name from, and this was designed to display 8 oval stone panels. As we can see here. The main construction of the building dates from around 1800, although it contains recycled elements from other sources. The columns and the pilasters may be part of a late 17th century orangery, and the stone wall plaques, incorporating themes from classic mythology, may be from an earlier 17th century building. And these wall plaques are based on Italian Renaissance images. And there's a bit of a window at the rear of it here. And interestingly, just at the side of the Doric Temple, we've got a familiar sight on these estates. We've got the ha-ha, which enables you to still have good views out onto the parkland, but stops the animals from getting into the main gardens around the house. As we can see, bit of a drop down there, so the animals can't get over. And then, relating to the Doric Temple, you can see the ha-ha runs down there. And then, if I poke through here, you can see there's a bridge over the ha-ha that actually comes out the side of the Doric Temple. I mean, the gate's going to be locked obviously, but you can see there how it leads out into the parkland. And there's actually a golf course over there now. And could probably do with a bit of restoration if they ever gather enough funds to do stuff like that. But as I said, this is owned by the council now, so. And as we move away from the Doric Temple, you can see along the ha-ha, and you can see the brick construction of it down here. Venture a bit further around. Plenty of benches here. Lovely place to come and enjoy a nice bit of exercise. Enjoy the scenery and stuff. Here's a view of the Camellia House with Wollaton Hall behind it. There's a nice view walking up towards the Camellia House here. It is a really nice looking place. And this Camellia House is Grade 2 star listed, and this dates from around 1823. And this is reputedly the oldest cast iron frame glass house in Europe, and apparently the only remaining one of its kind in England. And this was also probably by Geoffrey Whiteville, who had done some work on the house during that period. And you can see here it's got cast iron Doric columns topped with urns. Apparently it's not going to open today, although I will try a bit later on. But there's a little look inside. And interestingly, it's got a unique heating system designed by Harrison of Derby. And this actually takes the rainwater from those white fluted cast iron supporting columns, and those serve the piped heating system. So rainwater actually drops down from the top and through those, and then feeds that system.
What the hell? What's your whole head thinking?
Apparently Joseph Paxton visited the Camellia house here, and it had some inspiration for the Crystal Palace at the Great Exhibition, apparently. But you could probably say that for quite a few glass houses really. And then opposite the glass house you get views further down into the parkland with the lake down at the bottom down there. And I will go down to the lake at some point. And to get down there from here, you go over this nice bridge through these gates. And again, you can see how the ha-ha continues right from the direction of the Doric Temple over there, and then it continues further round, enclosing the more formal garden area. So I've moved to the front of the house again now, and just set off to the right of the house is the Grade 2 listed stable and service range over there on the right. So I'm just going to go in this end, and later I'll move on to the other end of it. And we'll go and have a look. Just on the way around there, we've got this old classic British red phone box here. As you can see, that now houses a defibrillator in case anyone has a heart attack or anything. So this is sort of the back entrance to the stable and service range. So the first part of this range of buildings was built in 1743, and then that was further extended with service buildings, stabling and pavilions in 1774. It was then extended and altered by Geoffrey Whiteville in 1829 with an indoor riding school. You might hear some like building noises in the background. We've got some noisy builders here today doing some work on the house. Against the wall here in the riding school range, we've got this lead water pump with two spouts, and this is actually dated 1826 if we look down here. And then there's the family motto down there, and then a baronet's figurehead at the top. And obviously that would have been for the horses to drink out of and stuff like that. And one of the troughs remains at the bottom. And in this area there's also a little shop now, a little modern shop at the bottom end down there. And then you got your toilets and stuff off to the right. Go through to the next bit. Looks like there's a cafe and stuff down this end. Another little shop of some sorts. A little bit of a restaurant in there. And then we come out the other side. So now we've come out to the other side of that range, and this is the formal south facade with its portico. And as you can see, this is in the classical style. As you can see, it's got quite a large clock there. And in the tympanum above, there's the carved coat of arms of the Willoughby family, incorporating figures of a monk and Hercules and a baronet's coronet. And actually written on the bottom below that is a French phrase meaning without fear, which must have been the motto of the family. And I'll try and get a photo up of that. I can still hear those noisy builders. And from this end of that range, you can see sort of how close the house is to it. So there's the house up there. You can hear the builders up there. And you might be able to see them as well. Enjoying a bit of singing and stuff as they're working, which is fair enough, I suppose. And this is the side of that range. And as you can see, they've saved the more decorative part for the part that's closest to the house. And then beyond that it leads down towards that lake that we saw earlier. So just outside the south front of the stable block, got these strange things with large balls here. And what these are, they're actually mounting blocks, mounting. So these were for people to get on the horses easier. So they'd use those steps, and as they brought the horses out, they could mount the horses easier. And there's one of those either side. And these are from around 1794 apparently. Okay, so it looks like we can go inside the house now. As you can see, various bits of heraldry above the doorway. Lovely entrance porch. And something from the Natural History Museum. And I think this is the Great Hall down here. Wow. Look at the ceiling. And apparently on that gallery up there, there's an organ. And apparently the composer Handel actually played that organ when he visited this place. And there's this gorgeous screen wall here.
Oh yeah, those steps outside on the looking at Ben. Yeah, okay.
Through to the other room on the lower floor. Nice fireplace. One of the old bell pulls, I think they're slightly dismantled. This room looks out onto the area with the pond that we looked at before. I think that leads through to the museum, through there, the natural history. Here's an old painting of Wollaton. So, as I said, a lot of this is Natural History Museum. So you've got various exhibits and things to see. A nice staircase at the side here. Nice mural on the ceiling. A little bit of damage. Some of these ceilings were by someone called James Thornhill, and some of those were later adapted by Louis Laguerre, who's done ceilings on some of the houses we've been to before. As you can see, it's mostly the natural history sort of museum, but then you have the odd old bits, like the old fireplaces and stuff. There's a view out onto the park at the front of the house. Got an elephant skull here. Another staircase here. Some nice murals on the walls. Another one of those ceilings, probably by James Thornhill. This will lead back down to the Great Hall, I think. Indian lion.
If you go to any stately home in England, or whatever, you see paintings like this.
Back through the Great Hall. Lovely model of the house in the middle there. You can see exactly what it looks like all the way around. Hopefully I'll be going up to that room right at the top a bit later on and see some other stuff. Okay, so I'm just outside the front of the house again now, and I'm going to be coming back at 2 o'clock for a tour of the house, so hopefully we'll be able to see a bit more of the older bits. Just off to the side of the front of the house we've got this stone gazebo, and this dates from around 1800 and it's grade 2 listed. And then just down the hill and behind the gazebo we've got this lion's head fountain, or what was a lion's head. It's very worn nowadays, and I'm thinking this was probably a horse trough for the horses to get a bit of water. And just down that wall from the lion's head fountain you can see the family's ice house up here, built into the embankment, which was quite a sensible thing to do. It's So it's just up there. I don't know if I'll be able to get to that or not. But you get the idea. They used to cut blocks of ice off the lake in the winter, and then they'd be thrown into the ice house and used during the summer and whenever they needed it. Yeah, so there was no way of getting to that ice house without doing something naughty, so I decided to leave that. What we'll do now is have a little look down into the parkland and around the lake. So we'll go through these gates we saw earlier. Like I said earlier, plenty of benches and stuff for relaxing and enjoying the scene. And off to the left over there, over the fence, that's the golf course. And they do have herds of deer here, which you do see sometimes when you're visiting, but can't see any at the moment. Just as I'm heading down to the lake, if you turn back, you can see a lovely scene of the house with the stable block next to it and the parkland. And then down towards the lake. As we get a bit closer to the lake, we come to this structure here, and this is called the Lake Ha-Ha, and this was built in the late 18th century as part of a redesign of the park's landscaping by Humphrey Repton. And this was designed basically to take the water that runs down from the house and outbuildings and then feed it into the lake. Yeah, so as you got towards the end of the Ha-Ha, you would have these little conduits at the end. And the excess water that had run down from the house and that, instead of flooding the fields, it would run through there and down into the lake, which is here. Okay, so this is the lake, and this is roughly 25 acres in size, and this was created between 1774 and 1785 on the site of an earlier lake. Okay, so as we get towards the other side of the lake, we come to a structure down here, and this apparently is an old boathouse. I'll just walk across the top and then come back under. So this is apparently the top of this boathouse. She's looking from the back. Right. So here we are at what was apparently an old boathouse. And this was designed to be viewed from the other side of the lake to look like a classical bridge. Interestingly though, you might think, well, it's not really much of a boathouse because the water doesn't really come up to it. But that is apparently because at some point the water level was lowered in the lake, so the water no longer actually comes up to this point. And I suppose you would have entered through that hatch at the back, and it looks like there would have been steps here. One remaining there. And then this would have had water in it and boats, and you would have stepped into your boat and then gone straight out onto the lake when the water level was higher. And you might be able to see in the distance, there's a lovely view of the house right in the centre of the picture down there. And I'll take a couple of pictures and you can have a look. It's a gorgeous scene down here though. As you can see, plenty of people having a walk around and stuff. As you can see, there's multiple compartments for the boats. And I suppose originally this boathouse that was designed to look like a classical bridge, it would have had various embellishments and stuff on the top. Probably like a balustrade and stuff like that. There's the large expanse of the lake. Alright, so we come to the end of the lake and then over this little brick bridge and then back up over towards the house and stables. So what I'll probably do now is I'm going to have a little bit of dinner and then I should be on that tour after that, so we should see more of the house, hopefully. Just as I'm on the way to go and get some dinner, just have a quick look at the memorial here to the soldiers who were stationed here in preparation for D-Day. The American 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 82nd Airborne Division. Here we go then for the second part of the house. Okay, so this is the second part of the house tour. This is the hidden history tour, and the guide preferred not to be recorded, so this is going to be mostly photos with a little bit of video in. And this is the prospect room right at the top of the building. This is the building that takes up the whole of the top floor. And we're just heading over to the window that overlooks the lake and the stable block. And there's a bit of the ceiling in that room and the walls. And the bits that look like curtains at the top of the windows, they're actually wood that's been painted. This was a view out of the window of the prospect room. And a bit of video showing outside that window. This tour was really good, by the way. It did cost £15 to do this sort of extended tour, but it's worth it, and the guide was really good as well. Again, this is looking over towards the lake. And another view of the prospect room. You'll see that the top half of the walls are blue and the bottom are green. The blue's for the sky and the green was for the green land at the bottom. And here we were allowed out onto the roof. So we got various pictures here. And that corner tower in the corner, that's where the workmen were building. Well, doing a bit of work, whatever they were doing. And this glass here is actually double glazing, and I think it's some of the oldest double glazing that was ever done. And again, another look at one of the corner towers. And you can see they've got those little roundels with the little busts of certain people on. And a view down the front lawn of the house, right down one of the avenues. And again, general view off the roof. And a bit closer of a look up at that corner tower. This was one of the old washrooms, halfway down a flight of stairs. That's the organ that Handel used to play when he visited, and the pipes of that organ. And then this is the view from the gallery where the organ is, down into the Great Hall. And a bit of a closer look at the ceiling from the gallery. This is down the servants' stairway. So as you can see, we're moving down the building now. That door was really heavy there. It was made of iron, I think. And the bells for summoning the servants. A bit more there, a bit of a closer look. And these cannons were actually used in, I think, the Reformation riots or something like that. And one of the kitchens here, obviously. And another food preparation room. And those hooks at the top were for hanging the meat off and stuff like that. And a butter churn there. And there's a wooden trapdoor at the bottom there, and that's where they used to put all the waste fluids directly down into the sewers, or their version of the sewers. So as you can see, we're moving sort of underground now into a bit of a cave network that they utilised. This was the wine cellar, for keeping all your wine cool. And further along that network, this is sort of where you would have kept all your food cold and stuff like that. And there's a bit of like a network of waterworks down here as well. You can see the floor's damp as well, most of the time. And there were sort of natural springs coming up. That's how low down we were. And that channel down the side there, that would have had sort of water flowing down it or something like that. Then this was a natural spring, and one of the old inhabitants used to bath in there apparently. Someone who liked a bit of a drink. And then further along, sort of on our way back now, sort of heading out. And then out. So, that was the lovely Wollaton Hall in Nottingham, and I hope you enjoyed having a look around. And in April, I've actually got Highclere Castle booked, otherwise known as Downton Abbey. So that should be very interesting to have a look around. And there should be quite a few more things for this year as well. So thanks a lot for watching as usual. I really appreciate it. And I shall see you next time, wherever I go. Thanks a lot.